Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price,
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
and you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Higgins here. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode, that game went on forever.
Oh, welcome back everyone to another episode of At the Bridge Pod, and I am your host Mike, and I am joined in a virtual room, roaring as always with Lions. I got Chris, I got Ollie. Monday show on a Monday, rightful place. Team, what were those moments of the weekend?
Neither
of us have got one, have we?
Great start.
Not really. I mean, I sorted a car out.
Oh, tell me more.
Yeah, sorted out getting a new car. Went and picked it up today. Drove it for about 6 miles, and then the check engine light came on.
Oh no! Oh, it's not even the good. It's not even a light where you go, yeah, that's an important light.
So check engine light came on, transmission warning came on, and it wouldn't accelerate. So I had to park it up. And to be fair, the garage I got it from was really good. Bloke come out, he's fixed whatever the problem was.
Nice.
He's driving fine now, and then it's going back in for a gearbox service sometime in the week. So the garage was really good, to be fair. But when it happened, considering that is what happened on my old car, I think the universe is trying to tell me that I shouldn't drive.
To be honest, you could just stick a bit of masking tape over the check engine light, and you can't see it then. So it's effectively fixed.
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
Ollie, what have you got lined up?
I got a new mouse mat for my desk.
Whoa!
I know.
Calm down, Ollie.
This is the sort of stuff I have to resort to.
Wow!
It's got the world map on it. It's pretty cool. Like it's one of the big ones.
Sounds like a nice mouse mat.
Honestly,
yeah, cheers, mate. It sounds like a nice check engine light. Fuck off.
We do not care.
All right. Hey, remember on Friday when one of my games of the weekend picks was Kimberley versus Sol de Mayo? It just because I love the team names.
Kimberley.
I joked, didn't I? I joked that there'd be zero chance of finding a stream because it was just too niche. Guess what popped up on YouTube? An Argentine channel streaming the entire game. I take it back. I take it the internet. Beautiful at times. None of the goals were memorable, if you wondered. No one cares about that. They weren't memorable. Back-to-back episodes, though, I've been proven wrong. So I probably shouldn't be celebrating or highlighting that to people. But yes, Manchester United have a basketball team, and you could actually get a stream that was legal, I think, for Kimberley versus Sol de Mayo. Kimberley won 3-0. Again,
Okay.
Not memorable. Not memorable. It really wasn't. First of all, the first goal, the stream stuttered and you missed the goal and they didn't show a highlight of it. So that goal's been lost forever. Well, we'll move to Shevva's shoutouts as we check out what's been said on Spotify. Ooh, now let's have a look. So, Wesley, different take. Enzo is better now because he left his wife to get a bit of strange and then returned to his family. I should really proofread these. Jesus. Corey loved the commentary on the Tunis game by the wonderful host, Mikey. Keep it up. That was beautiful. You guys are the best. Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, well done, host. Good job.
Ryan, not sure what's more rare, Jackson scoring or a full pod. Love these hosts. Always listening whilst working.
Yeah.
Oh my God. James, I love the pod, but why is the ones when we lose always longer than when we win? Maybe the pod just like being negative.
Everyone likes to moan.
More to talk about, isn't there?
That's true. There's only so much where we can backslap ourselves going, it was a great game. Because at the end, you start to go, I'm going to vomit. This is awful. They're too praised. They're too positive.
It's the nature of being British. We're all just inclined to moan a bit sometimes.
Correct.
That's okay.
McFown's great episode, guys. Jamali, I really think Tosin is the best centre back at the club. He's a 7 every time he plays. What more can you ask for? And Mike, host, best Chelsea pod out there, miles ahead. Oh, thanks. Thank you. And yeah, I agree on the Tosin take. I do agree on that.
Not so much. I mean, not me so much.
Okay. Abs, just to let you know, the games are available for free on DAZN. You just need to sign up. Careful there. Careful there. You'll get that pop-up all the time telling you to go to DAZN Premium because there's a big fight.
How annoying was that?
Someone had put
I
on the
hated
Discord,
it so much.
just press the back button. And I'm like, okay, I kept doing it. Literally, I'd say 90 seconds, it'd pop up again. I'm getting pissed off now.
Also, why does it fill a quarter of the screen?
It does feel a quarter of the screen. Yes, it does.
DAZN's pissed me off, to be honest. I've started using it to watch these games, and I'm just like, I'm not sure this was worth it at all. This service
Back to the dodgy streams.
Awful.
Tristan, hey at the Bridge Pod. I'm from Melbourne, Australia, and I'd just like to say, keep up the great work. Been listening to you guys since 2022. Although I've been a Chelsea fan since 2010 when I was 9. Chris has some really good takes and I always find myself agreeing with him, but all of you guys have elite ball knowledge and love hearing all your thoughts. Just wanted to ask, in your opinions, who do you think is the most criminally underrated Chelsea player of all time? Keep up the great work.
Oh, that's a really good question.
That is a good question.
Criminally, because a lot of people do end up getting their, a lot of people do end up getting their flowers sort of in the end.
Yeah. Azpilicueta. He's still not rated as a top defender in the Premier League era.
I was going to say Gary Cahill.
That's a very good one.
Because even still now, people say he wasn't very good.
Yeah, they do. That is very true. Do you know who else, I think? Solomon Kalou.
Yeah.
Because I'm just about to say to you now, going, no, he weren't great. So
yeah,
I've proven the point.
But he actually, do you know what? He actually was. I actually think for the role he played in the team, I think he did it perfectly.
Yeah, and the cost was low as well. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, this is all real close. Right. Mark, is Maresca ball the ultimate cure for insomnia? Yeah,
it's close.
It's close. Tyler, I got to see Chelsea for the first time in person in my hometown of Philadelphia on Tuesday. Go Birds. I first started following the Blues when American sports were paused during the pandemic, but the podcast is a massive part of the reason I've grown to love the club. It's like sitting in the bar with old friends discussing soccer. Thank you for all you do, including Chris and his hilarious negativity. It is hilarious. No, honestly, that is really lovely that we've actually we've encouraged and made the club look. That's insane. I love that. I love that.
Doing our bit.
Talking to Chris, KP, I'm going to play a Chris guessing game on Monday and take a shot every time he says losers list Enzo Maresca, boring, side-to-side passing, players don't want to play for this manager, and overrated. 11 wins in 13 for Enzo, by the way.
You're gonna get 25 minutes in and pass out drunk.
Oh my word. Oh,
it's the last stat that's annoyed me more than anything. Now.
He's got you. He's rattled you.
Peter, what would you think about us signing Antonio Silva? There are no rumours, of course, but I thought he had a very strong game up against Delap. He's been one of the best young players in the world, but I wonder if he would be an immediate upgrade in either Chalobah or Tosin. I remember picking him as my young player to watch at the Euros, and he certainly wasn't, was he?
He let you down a bit there. I don't think he's a bad player. I think we were more interested in him a couple of years ago. I think his development stagnated a bit since then. So
he reminds me a bit of Matthias de Ligt. You know how he was so highly rated at Ajax?
Just got divorced.
Once he left, it was like he just never really got any better. Like that was his peak.
Yeah, the problem with Silva is he turns 22 in October, so he's getting on a bit there for the project.
Way too old.
So I'm a bit, it's a bit. You never know. The legs go, do go there. Luke, what does the team think of Joao Pedro sign? We're going to touch on that later. I'm feeling very underwhelmed about it and not sure where he will play in this setup. He's not a major upgrade to what we have. We will touch on that in news. Sam Smith, actually. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. I know what Chris will say. Did anyone else think it was utterly embarrassing how Maresca acted after our second goal against Benfica? Keep up the great chats. Thoughts on the new forward, Pedro? Hope that means Jackson and Nkunku out. Delap is showing good signs. Again, we will touch on Pedro. I don't find that embarrassing. I I fully understood the passion there.
Yeah, in a knockout game in the circumstances, it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
To be honest, it didn't bother me either.
There we go. 3 for 3.
There you go. If it didn't bother Chris, it shouldn't bother you.
Exactly. I'm coming in after watching the round of 16 win versus Benfica. I thought it was a strong performance and super unlucky to get the penalty kick called against us. I think that was the longest we saw Lavia play in a game. Any thought of the trio of him, Enzo and Caicedo and how they looked? Yeah, Lavia played the longest game of his life though. I think it was like, what, 3 hours, 4 hours?
Yeah.
No, they looked good. They did look good. Again, we'll touch on that in winners and losers. And finally, Daniel, 37 minutes ago you posted this, so you just got in. Love the pod, guys. I think Ollie needs a better microphone because his sound quality is a bit muffled compared to everyone else's. Keep up the good work. I think Ollie, I'll defend him here. I think he was on his remote setup.
Yeah,
I might have been at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
why I sound like I'm underwater sometimes.
That's why. So the thing is, the fact that he turned up on a dodgy broadband connection off some train Wi-Fi. Look, thank you as always for your reviews, thoughts, and everything else. If you want yours read out, head to Spotify, drop a comment. We'll make sure to shout you out in the next episode. But of course, before we head to the news, just a shout out for something that matters just as much as that win against Benfica in the Club World Cup. It's your mental health. And of course, our partners head in the game have free football for the mind and body. It's kicking off this week, 2nd of July at Harris Garrard Academy, 3G in Thamesmead. Again, it's not about how good you are. It's about how good it makes you feel. So it's totally free. There's weekly sessions on. Support for your mental well-being. Men aged over 18. There's no pressure. Doesn't matter if you're good or bad at football. All abilities are welcome. So if you're feeling stressed, just feeling a bit crap, unmotivated, or just want to connect with good people through the power of football, this is for you. Again, this Wednesday, 2nd of July, and it's every Wednesday, 8 p.m, 12 weeks. Movement Mates, mental fitness. And you can find out more, of course, at headinthegame.co.uk. Get involved. Get involved. 2 days away. 2 days.
Yeah, if you're near Thamesmead, get involved.
Yes. Right. Let's hit some news. On Saturday night, we had Fabrizio Romano performing a very greedy tap-in, didn't we? Here we go. After Fabrice Hawkins' screamer of a shot was already going into the net. So Jamie Gittens to Chelsea is done. Fee of up to, please. We don't do Sky Sports figures around here and just list the whole fee with add-ons. Up to 55 million. A 7-year deal has been agreed because it's Chelsea. And he's had his medical Saturday night. No news if he passed it. I'm going to assume he did. Bayern did make a late move, but the player apparently only wanted Chelsea, which is something that members of our Discord have known since April. If you know, you know. How do we feel about this signing? How do we feel?
Meh.
Oh. I hope you don't listen.
It's one that can go. All of these signings, I think they feel a little bit underwhelming because they could go either way. Either he comes in, he's really exciting and it looks like a bargain.
Ooh.
Or he comes in and you think, yeah, he's too young, he wasn't ready for this. He's come from the Bundesliga, which is a red flag straight away. So that's why I just think it feels a bit like, is he going to be any better than Sancho was last year? Is he better than what we've already got? Until we see him, I don't really know. To be honest, I haven't seen enough of him because I'm not watching highlights on YouTube because what's the point?
That is a good. I do. Yeah, I sort of see your point. Like, we will do a scout report on one of those two players for Friday. I don't know which one. I'm tempted for Pedro. Look, how do I feel about it? It was kind of one of those deals where everyone held their breath, didn't they, waiting for the fee? Kind of like it was about to come out of your own bank account the day before payday. Look, when it comes to the price, I just don't care. It's not my money. I mean, some worry it limits what we can spend elsewhere. Let's be real. We'll just sell a few car park spaces back to ourselves at the bridge. We'll keep PSR happy. And then other clubs will copy, like Villa have copied and sold the women's team back to themselves. I think the signing, it's just modern day Chelsea. It's a young, high ceiling talent with a lot of question marks. Again, I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see him in our blue shirt because my eyebrows are cautiously raised. He did have spells in the Bundesliga and Champions League where I was like, oh, okay. But I'll again reserve my judgment. I'll scout him and, do a little report on him. Whether that's Friday again, don't know. I'm all right. Ollie, any closing thoughts for the next one?
Yeah, I think again, it's one of those ones where it's like, well, the fee is a lot, but if he does justify it, he'll be a pretty good player for us. He's quite an interesting kind of winger. I think he's a bit of a different profile to a lot of the wingers we've had before. He seems a lot more like a Mudryk to me than a Sancho. Just in terms of his pace, he's willing to shoot, wants to take players on. He's a bit like Noni in that way. 55 million worth up to, no, don't know about that. Probably gave Dortmund a few too many there, but I think overall he'll probably be an okay signing for us. One thing that's worth talking about is he wasn't as good last season. I don't think his numbers were quite as good. I don't think his performances were quite as good from what I've read. But that's because the manager had him playing a lot more direct. Whereas apparently he seems to shine most as a touchline winger, which seems to be what we want under Maresca. So at the very least, that should be a good indicator of like he will slot in pretty well.
True. Yeah, I think that's fair. Now the next one, Sunday evening, amidst the sweltering weather that we had an Ornstein drop. You could call it a rain cloud. Some called it a rain cloud. Some might say it was hot days. Chelsea reached an agreement with Brighton and Hove Albion to sign Joao Pedro. It's a deal in excess of 50 million. It's been struck. Personal terms are in place on a contract until 2032. That's a 7-year deal again. I don't know about you. I'm a little tired of shopping at the Brighton convenience store because buying from them in years has been like ordering a beer at an airport. You'll pay £25 for something that should cost you a fiver. And he's one of those players where he doesn't really excel at anything. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but all the tools are sort of blunt. I'm not saying he's shit because I don't know what his best position is. I don't know what his nailed on role in the team will be. He won't be taking penalties at Chelsea, that's for certain. Oh, I don't know, because I kind of feel like we bought that player last summer and we call him João Felix.
And we bought him the year before. We called him Nkunku.
Again, I'm not saying it's a bad player. I'm not saying it's a bad signing. But what are we doing? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know.
If we're looking at it on the basis that he's like Felix is going and he's like a replacement who can do everything Felix did and more, then it might be a smart concept. But that's a lot of money for a player who is ostensibly going to be a backup. Maybe we need that because we're going to be in the Champions League, like sort of better competitions and stuff this year. But I know what you mean, Mikey. For me, he's very clearly not a number 9 at all. Like I don't know why Brighton gave him the number 9 because he just isn't one. He's so clearly to me an attacking midfielder who does everything like a proper classic number 10 attacking midfielder at that, which doesn't sort of exist anymore. Which is probably why he's been shopped around in a few positions. But I think if Maresca can have him playing on sort of that left sort of half space, I think that's probably the place best for him. Him and Enzo behind Palmer going up there. So, or the striker or whatever, Palmer off to the right. It gives us another string to our bow. I like how he's quite relentless in midfield and in attack. But my other thing that I worry about with him is discipline. He gets sent off quite a lot. Delap's reportedly had his own disciplinary issues as well. I could see almost like maybe a 2-man striker system if we played them both together. But I do, like we're in the middle of thinking about getting rid of Jackson because he's been a petulant kid and got himself sent off too many times, and we're just sick of it. Are we just replacing like for like? I don't know.
It depends what we play. If we play like a 4-2-2-2, I can see how Pedro could work in that. I generally don't know how to feel. That's again, I'm not excited. I'm not underwhelmed. We did a poll. We did a poll on the good old Twitter, and that it was 90 votes, which is good. 40% great signing, 51% mess signing, and obviously the remainder was awful signing. So that's only just under 9%. So no one's saying it's a bad signing, but it's a shrug. Chris, king of the shrug. How's your shrug right now? Where's your mind at?
I don't hate the signing. I think the price is too high. I think we've overpaid again.
Brighton. That's what you get.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I've watched him play for Brighton a few times, and he is a good player. The signing worries me more because we've seen so many of his type at Chelsea fail.
Yeah, that sort of 9.5 or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
Like,
so Kai Havertz, Christopher Nkunku, that's just recently of these sort of players who you think, where do they play? They're not. I mean, he's played 119 games as a striker, which is a lot of games
yeah,
as a striker for someone who you would say isn't one.
Yeah, I was going to say he straight up isn't one. So if he's coming into the team, for me, it's got to be his role needs to be defined. I don't think he should be a player who we just kind of ship in everywhere where it works.
The reason why I think it could be another sign that turns out to be a waste of money though is 119 games up front as a number 9. He scored 34 goals, which is not a great return. It's okay. It's not
for a striker. It's not brilliant.
But as a second striker, he's got 10 goals in 20 games. So that's clearly where he's best as a second striker, but we don't play one. We didn't play one when we signed Nkunku, who also did the same. And we didn't play one when we signed Kai Havertz, who also was the best in that position. So it seems like we've just made the same mistake again. We've signed a player who doesn't really fit what we do. It just feels like another bit of an opportunistic signing, like he came on the market. He's 23, which fits the age profile that we look for. Other clubs, Newcastle wanted him. We love just coming in and just sniping people from that other clubs want. I don't know. It'd be one of them where he either turns out to be a really good sort of utility squad player, or he's another one where we're sat here this time next year, a bit like Nkunku saying, I'd just sell him.
Well,
do you think there's any chance like that? Because that's the thing for me as well is like, if he's going to be playing mostly what you assume to be either second striker or attacking midfielder, if he's playing in midfield, who has to be vacated for that?
Exactly. I mean, we don't need him, do we? If Enzo Fernandez comes out, you wouldn't put Joao Pedro in first because we've got other midfielders who can go in there.
Yeah,
if you take him Palmer out, it's the same thing. Like,
maybe
it's
that
bizarre.
sort of left. It's like they're going to treat him as like, I hate this word, but like a wing fielder, like that sort of like left
what the
side.
fuck is one of them?
I know, sort of. It's just new parlance, isn't it? Just to make it up about players who don't have any actual position, but like play him on the left.
So he's going to play on the
left
and come inside. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if that maybe because we're on that left side is where we're lightest at the moment. But to be honest, we've just bought Gittens, and we still need a left centre back way more than we needed someone like Pedro.
Wait and see on that. Park that thought. We do have finally, Jurgen Klopp spoke about the Club World Cup.
Oh,
saying
what a prick!
It was saying it was the worst idea ever implemented in football. To which Sky's Cavi Solokol responded with,
and the other thing I would say to Jurgen Klopp is, if you don't like the Club World Cup, don't watch it. Everybody can do what they want. You can play paddle. You can go for a swim. You can watch something else on TV. Maybe watch Netflix. Go for a walk. Go for a nice meal.
I don't know which one I'd rather do. I don't know. I like the swim. I like the walk. Netflix depending. I don't know. I mean,
absolutely right though, isn't it?
I don't.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. No one's forcing you to. I've only watched the Chelsea games.
Also, it's a bit dramatic, isn't it? The worst thing to happen in the history of football or whatever. It's like just
when
a tournament
VAR
that's a bit
exists,
unpopular.
That is a silly statement.
When VAR exists, I'm sure that video won't be memed into oblivion ever. No.
You're gonna have people being like, "Go for a walk."
You can go for a swim.
Yeah.
Right, it's time, listeners, you
can go for a swim.
Not that. We're going to go winners and losers because we're heading to the Bank of America Stadium in North Carolina, the home of the Carolina Panthers, because we took on Benfica. Chelsea's 4-1 extra-time victory over Benfica wasn't just a football match, it was a test of patience, weather apps and whether the human body can stay warm through a 2-hour lightning delay in a half-empty NFL stadium. Reece James opened the scoring in true I'm the main character now fashion. He caught Benfica's keeper napping with a cheeky free kick. It was a goal that screamed both genius and that he'd been watching David Beckham compilations all week long. But just when it looked like Chelsea could tuck this one away and start prepping for Palmeiras, the clouds rolled in, literally, with just minutes left on the clock. A thunderstorm descended on Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium, pausing play for 2 hours and forcing fans to seek shelter. This game turned into a battle between the weather and willpower. Play resumed, fans were awake, and Benfica, very subtly, like a late-night soap opera twist, were gifted a handball penalty by VAR. It was converted by the penalty merchant Angel Di Maria for his fourth of the tournament, starting to wonder if he's secretly on commission for every spot kick he takes. Into extra time we go, and Benfica's Gianluca Prestiani, who clearly had a plane to catch, picked up a second yellow so quickly it might have been a speed run. From there, Chelsea did what good teams do against 10 men. They pounced. Nkunku, slowly turning injury-plagued signing into comeback story of the year, bundled home the go-ahead goal with the elegance of a dropped bowling ball. Hey, wild scenes, incredible scenes. Pedro Neto added the third and Kieran Dewsbury Hall slammed home the fourth to cap it off. When the full-time whistle blew, 4.5 hours after kick-off, might we add, Chelsea had weathered both the storm on and off the pitch. Now they have a quarter-final date with Palmeiras. Benfica 1, Chelsea 4. It confused me when I asked Alexa what the score was, but we have winners and losers. Who have you got and how many have you got?
I got 3 and 3.
I've got 4. I've got 4 and 3.
Oh,
wow! I have 3 and 3. Because I've got Reece James, my first winner. Do we all have
he's
Reece
on mine.
James?
Yeah.
He's surely got a bit on there.
I mean, this man saw Trent score a couple of free kicks and get dubbed the best right back in England. He clearly said he's taking that personal. I mean, that's now a total of 3 free kick goals for Reece and 2 in 2025 alone. I mean, he's hitting them like the right back Beckham. Not my words, but my words. I mean, Trent, I looked into this. I got actually a little bit excited. He's got 5 all time. 5. That's just 2 behind now. So, and the placement was clever. The technique was clean. The celebration of the heart gesture to Di Maria, though, that was calculated cheek. I love that. I mean, Reece is kind of the guy. He might sound like a yoga instructor in his interviews, but on the pitch, he's got that premium shithousery in his locker. And I've seen people moan about the goalkeeper's positioning for the free kick. Look, no one cares how the sausage is made. They just know it tastes good. If it tastes good, they don't care how it was made. So for me, I'm putting him on set pieces more often, easily, because if he's going to pull those off, get to that 5 mark. Why was he your winner?
Well, it's a phenomenal free kick, isn't it? You know, whether he goes round, you know, like first of all, he takes it round the wall, which takes skill in and of itself. Whether the goalkeeper's in the right spot or not, I don't know. It seemed all right to me, and just like Reece bent it into the corner so hard that it was just impossible to get there. For me, it was a fantastic goal, which capped off a pretty good performance from him overall, I thought. And when you score a goal like that, you've got to be a winner.
Yeah. Oh, Chris.
It was the moment of individual brilliance that the game needed, really. And I think without the weather, I think that's the winning goal. I think it peters out to a 1-0.
Yeah, I think so.
So we would have been talking about him being the reason why we went through. I thought he had a bit of a shaky game up to the free kick, though, to be honest. I thought he got caught out of position a few times. He recovered really well, but he did get caught out of position a few times.
Well, he was a bit further forward, I guess, than he usually is.
Yeah, he did seem to be. It's really good to see Reece James, though, back fit, playing at right back.
Looks like he's enjoying it as well, which is important.
Yeah, and it seems to me like he's growing into that leadership role. I think since he got back fit, and it seems like he's less worried about his own body. It seems like he's really embracing being captain now, and I think he'll continue to grow next season the more he plays and captains the team.
Yeah, I think that's pretty summed up perfectly about his game. It's just great to see our captain play football, play well, and remind everyone why Trent has not stolen that award and run away. It's not yet. No. Reece is still there. And when he's fit and he's on form, he's the better player. That's not me being biased. He just is the better player. He's better defensively as well.
Yeah,
Trent
he
isn't.
is.
It's just saying. Right. My next winner, I don't know if we all have him. Moises Caicedo.
No, not on
No.
mine.
No.
Okay. I'll tell you why I picked him. Because I don't know what he's powered by, but I want some. Because once again, he was a one-man emergency service in midfield. Benfica players, they couldn't like a match without Caicedo arriving with a full fire hose and evacuation plan. I've got some stats. I've got 100% tackles won, 10 recoveries, 2 clearances, 0 times dribble passed. And unfortunately, the stat that I didn't like, the gnarly image of his leg bending in a way that human joints shouldn't. Because that's you, look, as someone that watches a lot of the NFL, that's usually followed by the injury timeout music and a stretcher. Somehow he walked it off and he finished the game. The only downside is he's suspended for the quarterfinal against Palmeiras.
Honestly, kind of good though, because it will get him some rest on that knee.
To be fair, the yellow weren't for a foul. It was for dissent towards the referee, which, considering how poor that guy was, I'm all right that Caicedo said something. I'm all right with that. So, and you haven't got him as a winner. Oh, Chris, you've got 4. Who's your second?
Oh, hello.
Chris has dropped. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. Ollie, who's your second?
My second one is the defense. Because I thought we had a very, very strong and solid defensive display. We didn't. I saw a stat or something that said after like the 80th minute, Benfica hadn't even had a shot, let alone one on target. Clearly, like, we froze them out for a really large portion of the game. This is knockout football. It's what you have to do, and we did it really well. Obviously, for most of the game, we can talk about in losers the other elements of the game, but yeah, overall, I thought it was a really defensively resilient performance, and that matters in this kind of football because it's, you never know when you might have a rough day at the office in knockout football, and before you know it, you're out.
Yeah.
So it's important. It's financially valuable for us to be here and stuff. So it's good.
Chris, who's your second winner from this game?
Christopher Nkunku.
I agree. I can't. Go ahead.
Obviously scored a really important goal, which I think was massive for him, but also for how much he celebrated it.
Yeah.
For someone who the perception is doesn't care anymore, he certainly looked like he cared in that moment.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Because we do have a lot of evidence for the contrary.
Yeah. And you know what? This is what frustrates me about Nkunku, because he's shown in glimpses, he's shown that there is a player in there. Because if you look at the goal, I think he's the only attacking player we have, except Cole Palmer, who actually finishes that chance. Because if you look at the finish, it's so clever that he purposely lifts it into the roof of the net because the defender's lying on the floor.
Yeah.
And I think if you're looking at someone like Jackson now, I think Jackson just hits it and it probably hits the defender lying on the floor and stays out. He purposely lifted it into the roof of the net. It's a really clever finish. And for someone who has been rightfully maligned for a large portion of last season, it was a really good moment for him. And just another glimpse of actually,
Where's he gone?
No, I know he's gone again, isn't he?
Oh, Chris.
His sage wisdom is being killed by the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I thought Nkunku had a decent game, and I think Chris is right. The performance for him matters a lot. I don't know whether he realizes he needs to play a bit and play well in order to keep himself in the shop window and get out of Chelsea, or if he's decided he's going to give it another go, or what. But it definitely feels like something has changed in the last couple times we've seen him. Wouldn't you say so,
Chris?
yeah. So I keep having power cuts, so my Wi-Fi keeps going on and off.
Helpful.
Shit.
I've had 5 today. 5 power cuts
hell.
today. It's an absolute joke. So I don't know where I dropped out then.
You said actually. We leave this in because the listener goes, oh, it feels like we're at a pub. So Chris spilt his pint. He's ordered another one. He's back. You were making a point about Nkunku because of his celebration and everything. And that's where you were at.
Yeah, and I was saying about the finish, about how clever the finish was.
Yeah.
Because if you look at where the defender is lying on the floor, he lifts it into the roof of the net, and I don't think there's many other attackers we have who would do that. Have that sort of presence of mind in that moment to recognise I need to put this in the air to score. It's just, and that's what's frustrating about Nkunku. We know there's a player there. Obviously, we've seen it before Chelsea, but we've seen glimpses at Chelsea as well that there is a player there. We just don't seem to know how to get it out of him consistently, which is the concern with Joao Pedro because they're basically the same player.
I can see where you're coming from. You know what? Because you said Nkunku, I'll do a quick little segue to my final winner. Team chemistry, because when Nkunku scored, it weren't a goal. It weren't a goal. It was a moment. You saw the full squad charge in to celebrate. Maresca was doing his Di Matteo impression from the Champions League, a touchline sprint. And you know what? For a guy who many fans still believe he's heading out the door, the love from his teammates was so loud. This team cares. They want each other to succeed. And remember, a saying I use all the time, a rising tide lifts all boats. Honestly, this might be the first flicker of Nkunku's redemption arc. Saw it with Cucurella. Could he be next? We have no idea what the club's plans are. Could be sold. Could about to have a redemption arc. It could also be a nothing moment and he's back to being poor. We have no idea. That's kind of fun with football, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Chris, your third winner.
Cole Palmer.
Ooh. A little bit rare for some Cole Palmer praise from Chris lately.
I thought he actually, first time in a long time, he looked lively in the game. And that's what I've been saying about Palmer for ages, that I wasn't worried about the goals and assists necessarily as much as I was about his lack of impact on games. I thought he had an impact on this game, especially for the 84 minutes that I actually watched until the weather. He looked lively. He looked like he was going to hurt Benfica. He looked like our best player again. And I think that's the level that we need to get him back to. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's come after having a bit of a rest, which is why I just think whether we get knocked out of this competition or whether we can rest him again, the more rest he can get before the Premier League season starts, the better, because I think then we'll start to see Palmer back towards his best. But he needs a break because this game he looks so much better having just had that one game off. Like, imagine how good he'll look if we give him a proper break.
You're not wrong. I fully agree.
He's one yellow away from getting suspended in the next game, I think.
You mean he's one game away from having a rest? That's what I heard. That's what I heard there.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Unless that only counted for Benfica and they've reset now. But so he might get that rest. He might get it.
Who's your third and final winner, Ollie?
Mentality for me. That I think that was the biggest winner of all out of everything. Obviously you cruise into a 1-0 win, right? Then it's a kind of unprecedented circumstance. Game gets called off for weather. It's very rare. It doesn't really happen very often, especially for British teams, right? And okay, all right. So they got to go and they got to wait around, and their muscles are cooling down, and there's not a huge amount they can do to keep warm. The game will go on eventually, but they don't know when. So they've got to. They're kind of in limbo. They're 1-0 up, but now the tired team they're playing against has had a bit of time to recoup. 2 hours to rest. You'd take that any day of the week if you were Benfica. They come out and they get that penalty, and you think, oh, this is a dagger moment, right? When Di Maria puts it in, you think this is going to be it now. Their heads will drop, their heads will go, and they'll probably go on and score a few more. And we didn't. We did the opposite. We rallied, we really sort of came back into the game, smashed 3 past Benfica in a really short amount of time, and killed the game completely. once extra time did come, like it was like we had another gear still to go up, and we hit it, which was really important in a big moment when we had a lot going against us, especially in the second half. So really resilient performance mentally, really good for the old mentality. I think we're slowly seeing these boys turn to men in front of our eyes.
Chris, final winner. You had 4. Wow.
Kind of linked to that in a way. I've got Enzo Maresca.
Hey, you can't take a shot for that. Doesn't count.
I still don't like watching us play, but we have found a way now to get results. The sort of turning point in this for me was after Reece James scored. My initial thought was, "Oh, we've won there," and I think that's a good place for a team. Because in this whole game, we had so much control over the game that we never really looked like we was
Benfica didn't have a sniff, did they?
No, like it never really looked like we was gonna lose that control over the game. It's not the best for fans to watch, but if it gets results, then it's
it
hard
will be.
it's hard to argue against. Like the same way, I haven't really enjoyed watching Guardiola's Man City teams, but when you're winning as much as they are, no one's going to moan about it. So we've found a way now to win games, and I do think that mentality, like you two have just been speaking about, it does seem to be getting so much stronger. The players are getting more resilient. That's got to come from Maresca in part as well. He's managed to rotate a lot and still get results as well, which I think has been important, especially during this competition. So, I'm not over the moon about going into another season with him in charge because I don't really like watching us play. But if we're going to keep winning games, I'm not going to complain about it because that's the job at the end of the day.
That's his job. It's right. And talking to jobs, we go to losers. My first loser is Slavko Vincic and the Club World Cup officiating. Trademark, because technically Club World Cup, trademark. Refereeing, for me, so bad. Where was my trigger warning? It
was awful.
I'll use his first name because I probably am butchering Vincic. But Slavko, he produced a masterclass in incompetence for me. Every 50-50 ball was Benfica's. Every dive was an instant whistle. The penalty for Benfica was, for me, the second worst call I've seen this tournament. Beaten only by the VAR overturning our penalty in the game against ES Tunis, for me. That was a concrete penalty. This one...
Yeah, this one was absolutely not that. It was really soft. If you lose the game off of that, you are furious.
Yeah, I've seen people say, but it by the letter of the law. Let's just stop using that as a good measuring stick. Let's just call it for what it is. It glazes his hand. And I've said it once, and I'll keep saying it. To me, handball is not handball if the flight of the ball does not change direction. It doesn't change direction. It doesn't
also, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly.
When people jump, your arms go up.
I saw some rival fans say, well, why is he jumping up with his arms in the air like that? Mate, we're not pop-up pirate. We can't jump up like that. It doesn't work. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And if you rewind, let's just park the penalty. Rewind a few moments before that so-called handball. You witness Angel Di Maria do a dive that, Greg Louganis would have been proud of. So if Argentina need an Olympic diving champion, he's available.
Di Maria's always been that player, isn't he?
Yeah, zero. It's just zero consistency in this tournament for me. The officiating in this tournament,
it's poor. It's very poor, and combined with the really rough ban experience, obviously, of the people who were there, it's not good enough. You're not giving people a good product.
No. Who was your first loser, Ollie?
My first loser was the referee. I have nothing else to. I have nothing else to add on that. I just thought he was shit.
Should we go to Chris? Should we go to Chris for his first loser then?
Yeah, go on.
Go on, Chris.
VAR.
Wait,
it's a referee by extension.
Yeah. The penalty call is probably the worst VAR decision for handball I've seen, because there was no need for them to get involved. The ref didn't see it or didn't give it. He's jumped, not looking at the ball anymore. His arms in the air in a natural position when you're trying to jump high. His hand has no effect on the ball whatsoever. Why are you getting involved? It's refereeing for the sake of it. It's like they're trying to justify their own job. Like, oh, we better get involved in something today, otherwise they're going to think we're useless and we're not. There's no point in us. That is what we think anyway.
Yeah.
So don't get involved. There was no need to get involved, and this micro refereeing from VAR is making referees look even worse. I think. Like the referee was shocking anyway. He didn't need any help to look shit, but he got some because. Then it forced him to go over to the monitor. As soon as he goes over to the monitor, basically he's got 3 other officials telling him, yeah, you've made a mistake. So then they are under pressure to change their mind. It's ridiculous. Like there was just no need for it. Get rid of VAR. I'd rather have the ref make shit decisions than some twat sat in a room in super slow-mo from 14 different camera angles still making a shit decision.
I'll put this to you. Did anyone else think that was always going to happen when the break went in with 4 minutes left to play?
Yeah, 100%.
I felt like, there was going to be a goal for Benfica.
Yeah, I just knew it, and that's why when I saw the notification come up on my phone, I was like, I wasn't surprised at all because it was just like, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Like especially when they had like so long to recover and stuff, they knew that would be their only chance really is to come out swinging. So.
Yeah, Yeah, that's all I can say on that. My second loser is the 2-hour storm delay. And I swear, Mark, you had enough time to go home, walk the dog.
You can go for a swim.
Went for a swim, rewatch Shrek 2 if you wanted, and come back before kickoff resumed. Now, I'm going to be very clear here before someone says, no, I'm going to be clear. Safety is paramount. No argument there. And if the decision itself to call players and the fans inside is totally the right call. Because you do not, the risk of what could happen, 100% agree with that. That's not my gripe with this. The delay exposed a bigger issue for me. Why are we, these are rhetorical questions in a sense I'd ask FIFA. Why are we scheduling matches in known storm zones at peak lightning hour? Maresca made a good point.
In open stadiums. In America, they have the domes.
A lot of people have said dome stadiums. A lot of them, because they're domed, have turf, and players don't want to play on turf because of injury risk. And I understand that. Maresca said post-game, it's not football to spend a game for 2 hours. He's right there. He's right. And I don't see... Look, I've got a bit of knowledge here because the NFL... Why aren't you scheduling games in Vegas, California, Portland, and also more in Seattle? Lumen Field has hosted 6 games already, perfectly. All 4 of those places have incredible stadiums. And when it comes to weather on the coast of California, it sees less lightning than almost anywhere else in the US. You use SoFi Stadium. It's incredible. It also has a roof if bad weather hits. Yeah, I don't understand. FIFA have knowingly scheduled games in storm-prone areas at midday to suit the European TV market. And now it's a shock that weather has intervened. For me, you're refusing the obvious solution, because I'm not saying that the states in the middle of Central America shouldn't be able to see, Club World Cup games or the World Cup next year. Yeah, I totally feel they should. However, do it with an evening kickoff, because yes, it would inconvenience the European market, but technically it's not a European World Cup. It's been hosted in America, so you cater for America. You're just catering for the European audience again.
For that, just do later games in here, and people will just use it as an excuse to go out, watch the game, and get pissed anyway. People are still going to watch it.
I just feel that when I hear about how FIFA are, it's like it's cowardice. You're disguising it as pragmatism. You're prioritising broadcast revenue over player welfare and match-going fans' welfare.
You know how Google used to have that slogan, "Don't be evil"? FIFA's is "Be evil."
It's just, I just find it appalling. And again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have delayed the game 4 minutes. No, the lightning, that's extremely dangerous, and they made the right call. But surely, because this is going to happen next year.
Can we talk about it? Because was it though? Because and the only reason I say that is because you could very clearly see on the broadcast it wasn't even raining.
I know, but
Like there was enough
come within
time
the
to
zone,
finish
hasn't
the
it?
game. I know, but there was enough time to finish the game without lightning doing some kind of 360 no scope from half a mile away.
I would say don't fuck with lightning because it's not
sure,
predictable.
like,
it's not predictable where it's going to hit.
It is when it's not fucking above you. It's pretty predictable. Like, you know,
I know where you're coming from, and I know there's going to be listeners who say, but you know, the weather we know in the UK, one little shift in the pattern in the jet stream for us, and we get completely different weather on Friday versus what we thought we were getting Monday. So I do understand it. I just feel like they could have done. I just feel it should.
Thing for me,
feel like there should be evening games for that.
Yeah, it links into my second loser, really, Mikey, like you said about next year, because my loser is the 2026 World Cup. Because I genuinely believe that this upcoming World Cup is going to be considered the worst World Cup of all time. That might sound like a lot of hyperbole and stuff, but I just don't think so. Like with the way the difficulties with people traveling away to the United States at the moment, and then with this stuff with the stadiums and things like that, I just think it's not gonna be what people want it to be, and I think it's really gonna struggle as a result.
Chris, who was your second loser?
I had fans, the ones in the stadium who sat through a relatively dire game for 86 minutes and then had to leave.
Wait around for 2 hours with nothing.
Yeah, and then probably most of them probably went home, and they missed the best part of the game when they went home. Fans at home having to sit around for 2 hours waiting for the game to come back up. I mean, I didn't. I went to bed. I
went to bed after it hit the second delay up to an hour, and I was like, I can't do this now.
Yeah. And then just it's the concern, like you was just saying, it's the concern going into the World Cup of this sort of thing happening and becoming a regular occurrence. And then you're thinking, well, it's ruining the spectacle. I don't know if any of you know what the 30-minute thing is about.
It's because of I'm going to double check this. There is a reason. It's because of how the storm moves with the lightning.
Because there was like you
away.
could have 29 minutes with no lightning, and then one bit of lightning on 29 minutes, and it resets to another half an hour delay.
Yeah,
why?
Pretty sure.
What's the significance about 30 minutes?
I don't know. I think it might be a holdover issue.
It's the 30-30 rule.
Another thing.
It says here the 30-30 rule offers the best lightning safety guidance for the general public. When you see lightning, count the time until you hear thunder. If that's 30 seconds or less, then you know it's close enough to be dangerous. Wait 30 minutes or more after the lightning flash before leaving shelter. So, yeah. Again, you can't fuck with it. It's very deadly, and you know you got to prioritize the safety of everybody. You have to, and no one is saying that.
Yeah, but if you want to if you want to be playing football, like again, the timing of the games, the kind of the stadium,
the timing of the games, I agree.
To change.
Do you think there is a case as well for if the game is within the last 5 minutes, the result should just stand?
Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you'd argue that
you'd have to say over a certain threshold.
Yeah, based on that, Bayern Munich won the 1999 Champions League final.
Like you could say, I don't know, if you're 4-0, like if you're the amount of minutes down, goals down that you have minutes to go, then like maybe fair enough.
Yeah,
you could call it early. Like I get the one. The thing is, like
I know they ended up scoring when we came back out, but it's like, is it really? You know, this could happen when you're in injury time. There could be 3 minutes of injury time, and then this happens. Is it really worth a 3-hour delay to play for 3 minutes?
And also, is it fair as well? Like, you know, you're thinking of the World Cup and stuff. Say that happened like, exactly like that. I probably won't because they'll have plans for it. But say that happened in the Champions League final. One team was on the World Cup final. One team was on the ropes. You know, then they get to come out after a couple hours, fresh as a daisy, go on and win the thing. It puts a potential asterisk on anyone's World Cup because it's like, well, you know, like that wasn't what was supposed to happen based on what was happening. Yeah.
Someone's going to mention Super Bowl 47 when Ravens and the 49ers took each other on, and there was the power outage, and the Ravens were 21-6 up, and then suddenly, obviously, the power outage happened in the second half, and the Niners scored 17 points, and suddenly it was a lot closer game.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
It does
you know,
sway. Does sway.
Yeah, and in certain scenarios, it might make a massive difference when it otherwise shouldn't have done.
Yeah, it is. Right, my final loser. The commentators, they're back, and somehow even worse. Did you know? Did you know, guys? Did you know that the Club World Cup winner gets £13 million? Of course you did. Of course you did. Listener, you knew. They mentioned it more times than they said Chelsea. And we've already touched on the DAZN ads. If I see one more Jake Paul promo mid-cross, which I heard, guys, it is actually exclusively on DAZN. I know it's already
another reason not to download it
as well.
Yeah, it's exclusively on DAZN. Oh, what are we doing? And then before we move all that, let's just park that and go, forget that. The commentary, they were like two interns were handed a mic and gone, wing it. It was lazy commentary. There was no research. There was no insight. You could fill out, I promise you could fill out all the research they did on a Post-it note.
Do you know what? I think you can add in as well the pundits in the studio.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you had a pundit that hated Chelsea, and you had John Obi Mikel who just he mentioned Ozzy. I knew he would.
Who hates Chelsea as a part-time.
I swear he doesn't like us. I am convinced now he doesn't, because every time
he's a part-time hater.
Like, look, I love to see more ex-Chelsea pros be pundits. I love that because Mourinho said it best. Not many Chelsea pundits, but the problem is Mikel. He uses it. He does bash us, which, whatever, there's reasons to bash us. But he always mentions us, and it's like, mate, you're not his agent. You're not his agent.
I think he's in love with him.
It's just mad.
I think he's got some weird obsession. I reckon he's got a poster of him on his wall. That's how much he talks about him.
Has he moved? Has Ozyman moved yet? Or is he still at Galatasaray?
No.
Yeah, to Mikel's house.
What's sake? Who's got a final losers for us?
I've got one left.
Go on.
I've got one left as well.
My one left is Malo Gusto. Because so I'm not taking the handball.
He didn't do the pop-up pirate jump.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Wasn't his fault. I'm not going at him for that. I just thought, other than that, he was generally pretty poor again. I think it's starting to approach now. It's the transfer window. Like, players like Achiampong are slowly looking like they're replacing him. He's not improving. Like, it's just not the system that he wants to play. He's an overlapping fullback. We all know that. He's not a midfielder. And so I'm starting to wonder now, like, especially in a game where we were so emphatic and we actually did really well and played well, had a lot of control and went on and was resilient and win the game. I still thought he was uniquely poor. And I'm just wondering if now is the time to start thinking about moving him on.
Chris, who was your final loser?
Mark Cucurella. Another one
we
for
still
me.
don't have left back cover.
Another one who I think looks like he needs a rest. I've seen him caught out of position in a long time. And the best chance that Benfica did have in the game came down he got absolutely rinsed on that left-hand side. And that lad who ended up getting sent off is probably the worst effort I've ever seen someone have at goal for a professional footballer. I don't know how he didn't score. Everything about what he tried was wrong, but that shouldn't let Cucurella off the hook for getting absolutely rinsed in the first place on that side, because that could have quite easily turned the game. But again, you've got to have sympathy for him because he plays all the time, because he has to, because we haven't got another left back, which is absolutely fucking ludicrous. We're going to sign another 9.5, 10 fucking slash winger, but we haven't got a left back. Oh, that's a good idea. It's like putting new tires on a car with no engine in it. Like, what's the point?
Chris revealing what he's doing to his new car.
Yeah, I just not giving adequate cover to Cucurella is going to cost us eventually.
Yeah, you're right.
The guy needs a rest for God's sake.
He needs a suspension. Right, let's drop those emojis. I went with lightning strike because it summed up the game, didn't it? It was a moment of quick moments that we dominated. However, the lightning strikes themselves delayed the game. We had the lightning strike moment of Di Maria's penalty and the Nkunku moment, the Reece James freak. It was to be honest, bloody good game. Really good game. Ollie, what's your emoji?
My emoji is the Brazilian flag because not only are we playing Palmeiras in the next round, I believe we will be actually getting to see Esteval play against us.
Yeah,
right?
our
Like,
Ballon d'Or player. Yeah.
because I don't think
Yeah.
it's I don't think there's anything like he can't play against his parent club
No,
or anything
there
like
isn't.
because I don't think he actually technically has a parent club at the moment. So we're going to get to see what he's about as well. And like you say, Chris, if Cucurella is struggling at the moment, he might be up for it.
True.
Yeah.
Chris, what have you got for us?
I'm gonna go with the sleeping
Oh,
emoji because
That's what
because
you were
of the
doing when everything
because of the
happened.
weather, I had to go to bed and
Yeah, same.
missed the only part of the game that actually seemed exciting.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Right. Let's look at our picks from renamed for this tournament exclusively Whiskered Warrior of the Week. So I had Delap. Chris, you had Santos. Ollie had Enzo. The wheel went Mark Yu. Mark Yu obviously was able to go home, go for a swim. So
You can go for a swim.
Ollie, you had Enzo. Chris Santos is not. No, it's between Delap and Enzo again for whoever wins out.
I think Enzo. I thought the lap was okay in this game, but not great.
It scored a good offside goal, but it's a shame
That
he
was
was
a
just
good goal.
a yard offside.
He was miles offside though.
But it doesn't
Yeah,
count.
but he did well to take it round the keeper and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, a good finishing
it was
thing.
lovely.
Never happened.
But
Doesn't count, yeah.
aside from that in the game, I just thought he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, it was offside,
It never happened.
so it didn't happen. I'll allow Enzo. So
You're
Ollie and I
fiction.
go 2 for 2 now. The actual lion, Reece.
Yeah, it's got to be James, surely.
We going with Reece? Reece gets into the good
Yeah,
old...
because I'm treating it as though we won 1-0, to be honest.
Cool. I'll allow. Yeah, that's
I think
fine.
he made the difference.
Yeah.
Right, Quaresma's questions. First question's a bloody good question. It's from Sweeter Minhas, who's asked, who has been our most impressive player at the Club World Cup, and can they keep it up?
I know, I've got the answer for you. I think it's Pedro Neto.
You know what?
Yeah, I agree.
I had that for me as well. He's like the Viagra of football. He just doesn't stop.
He was shit in this game though as well.
Scored a goal though.
Yeah, but again, and do you know what? I've said that for a long time. I'd rather have a player who's shit all game but scores a goal.
Yeah.
Than someone who looks fantastic but does nothing.
Honestly, I'm standing by it. The Viagra of football. He doesn't stop. He goes all night in every single game of this tournament. I've so been impressed. I mean, I said that he could be our player of the season next year, and nothing I've seen so far has changed my mind. He's electric, relentless. He generally looks like he's playing with something to prove whenever he steps on that pitch.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. Like, I know it sounds so stupid to be like, well, that's his job. He's supposed to try,
It's
but
his
like
job.
lots of players don't try, but he always tries.
I'll
Very
throw
true.
it back to you. I'll throw it back to you, actually. Who's better? Club World Cup Pedro Neto, pre-season Barkley, or lockdown Pulisic? You got to choose wisely here.
Lockdown Pulisic.
Yeah,
Hands
that guy
down.
was Ballon d'Or.
Honestly,
Oh,
he was Eden Hazard
he was
during that period.
that goal. Oh,
For like a couple months, yeah.
oh man.
The
What
one against
happened?
Burnley.
What happened?
Well, fans returned. That
Yeah.
happened, and he was like, "Not for me, lads." I'm
Yeah,
off."
that is weird though.
Oh,
Why did he hate? Why did he hate playing in front of fans? So weird as a footballer.
Throws a
Muckland,
kick about in the park.
Muckland 21. Which is a bigger suspension, Caicedo or half of the Palmeiras back line? I haven't seen this. I have not seen who is suspended. But if
What, Palmeiras got half that back line out?
that's 2 people, unless they play a 5 at the back.
That's bigger than us losing Caicedo because their
Well, yeah.
depth will be much less than ours will be.
100%.
Yeah, almost anyone being out for them is less bad, but worse than it is for us because of that. To be fair.
Uh,
Exactly.
I'm just looking who got booked in their last games because I generally, I'm not.
I think
will
we should. I think someone like Lavia really needs to be on it in that game because you don't have Caicedo just sort of like holding your hand the whole game. But we should have more than enough quality in midfield.
Do you think? Do you think Kasugu comes in and just plays like for like? Because as he's meant to be Caicedo's like for like replacement, you would imagine
and everyone's
if
gonna
Caicedo's
lose
suspended.
Everyone's going to lose their mind the second that
Wow.
he starts and Santos doesn't.
I just saw Gustavo Gomez got sent off against Botafogo for him, and I remember when I spoke for him too, he should be a next signing for us because he was phenomenal for him. Wow, he never left. Fair play. I mean, you love playing for your club. Fair play. End of show game. Let's get the end of show game to wrap it up. And it's 20 questions. Football 20 questions. 20 yes, no questions. Figure it out. Some listeners got the Hulk one very quick. So well done there if you were one of those. Let's see if we can get today's player very quick. So got a mystery player. I'm going to go to Ollie. And if you were listening on Monday, Ollie, you'd have heard Chris's very good questions. He narrowed it down very quick.
I can be frank with you. I was not listening on. Before.
You are going to fuck this up then.
Yeah, probably. Are they a midfielder?
No.
Are they retired?
Yes.
Are they a defender?
No.
So they're either an attacker or a goalkeeper. I don't think I don't think he's done a goalkeeper yet.
Yeah, I
So-
did. Who did I do? I did Joe Hart.
Oh, well. I forgot about that one. Are they from Europe?
Yeah.
All right, European. Did they ever play more than one season in the Premier League?
They did.
Have they won a international honour?
I'm gonna just go with no. When you mean international trophy, so like Confeds Cup, Euros, World
Yeah,
Cup,
any
whatever.
major
Nations League, anything
Yeah.
like that.
No,
any of that crap.
no, they've definitely not won any of those.
Okay.
Okay.
I
so
think
probably
Ollie, that probably rules out major European teams.
Yeah, I think you're
Or
right.
they just wasn't a very good player and didn't get picked.
Yeah, that's also possible. So they're retired now. Okay, did they retire before 2010?
I would say yes, they did.
So pretty old school player.
Pre-2010.
2010.
That is old school. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm asking this question, but it's just something in my head. Are they French?
They are not French.
Oh, imagine if I got that right though.
Okay. I'm going to ask the question so we know for sure. Are they a goalkeeper?
No. I'll even
Right,
give you a
so-
clue.
Attacker then.
On their international debut, they scored against France. Yeah,
Has France been said?
it has.
Cheers, Buff.
That was brilliant. A retired attacker, European. Did they play for one of the traditional top 6 Premier League clubs?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Not
mid-level.
traditional Big Six. Oh dear. An attacker from Europe in sort of like the
Oh, this is a good one. This is.
2000s. Did they play in the Premier League in blue?
Yes, they definitely did.
So Everton, maybe?
Everton, Portsmouth, maybe?
Yeah, Portsmouth. Birmingham, maybe? Blues? Don't know.
Here's a question.
Hmm.
Did they play for multiple,
Yes.
over 3 Premier League clubs?
Yes.
More than 3 Premier League clubs. I've got a feeling I might know who it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make a
it.
statement, by the way. One of those Premier League clubs. It wasn't the Premier League when he played there,
Oh, no, I don't know who it is.
but it's the same. It was
so
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
90,
top
90.
They were considered a Premier League team, but of course it wasn't called the Premier League then. So there's a little gap of age there.
Trying to think of like where in Europe they might be. Are
So
they
he was
from-
playing in a top flight pre-1992.
Yeah, there you go. He's right.
92.
They're in the first
It's
division.
Maybe like is the player from the southern half of Europe?
No.
Are they Scottish?
They're not Scottish.
How
Wow.
many questions do we
Chris,
have?
how have you not asked your killer question from last week? You would have helped
Because I
yourself.
forgot. I forgot what it
For
was.
fuck's sake, Chris.
How
That's
many have
what
we got left? Do we know?
You've got 7 left, so I'm going to be kind and go, Chris, you asked me, do they play in the country that they're from?
Yes, I did ask that. That was a good question.
Did they play in the country
Yeah,
that they're from?
well played, mate.
Yeah.
I'll wait on that one. So probably sort of Northern Europe, Northern European sort of attacker, more than one season in the Premier League.
Has he picked a Scandinavian?
No.
It's possible.
No. I'm not even going to count that as a question. No. Oh, wow.
Okay, he hasn't.
This player is so known. It's insane. I just...
Northern Europe. I mean, I'm not really sure where the north-south border in Europe is.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I did think that.
Halfway up Germany or so, I think. It's hard to know though. I don't know. Oh, okay. I've got a question, Mikey. Are they Russian?
No. Oh my God.
Can I ask my killer question now?
Yes.
Do they play in the same country as what they're from?
Yes. They did. They played for 3 clubs. That was it.
English.
Yes, they're English. They played for just 3 clubs.
For 3 Premier League clubs, English, played in blue, pre-92, and they're an attacker.
And they're sort of European, but Northern European.
Oh my gosh.
No
I
international
know some people
trophy.
will have had it now, but it's a lot harder when you sat here trying to think of questions and trying to figure out who it is.
It's also difficult when the player likely played before I was born.
That does make it relatively difficult for you, Ollie. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm struggling with finding questions, to be honest.
Not an obscure player. Every single listener will know this player.
It doesn't help.
Every single listener will know this player.
5 questions left, listener. I'm trying to think if I should give him a clue.
Wait, hang on. Oh, hang on. Did they play? No, hang on. No, because you said they played in blue. But hang on. Wait. No. Did they play for Newcastle?
They did.
I think it's Newcastle's best ever striker.
Which would be
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer. Yes, it is.
There we go. Do you know what? It threw me so much with non-traditional big 6 because of course, Newcastle
no, I tell you what flew me, the blue.
Well, Blackburn. Gonna say.
Yeah.
That's blue and white, though, isn't it?
You said, did they play in blue? That counts as blue. Because I did this with Wales when I said about, and you were, international counts as well. Oh, and it was, was it Southampton?
No, he's right.
I'm not going to be particular and go, well, no, they didn't play in blue. They played in blue and white. So, and then if you get it wrong one day and go, oh, did they play in white and blue? And I go, no, was considered blue and white, actually. Yeah, you did it in 16. You did it in 16. I think that's pretty
Well, we
good.
got there in the end.
Yeah, we did.
Listeners, we're at the end of another episode. Thank you as always for tuning in. And before we go, don't forget we're proudly partnered with Head in the Game, mental health charities in football, support wellbeing and community. Find out more at headinthegame.co.uk. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Friday with something. I'm going to ask the lads in a minute to see what they think. So until next time, that's us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.